Yeah, quit smoking, quit drinking, quit the negativity. But are you quitting on yourself? Because the truth is, as you go on your journey, you might alter your goals. Your goals might change. So instead of setting goals, create systems and processes. Welcome, my name is Rus Nikita. I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs and leaders just like you discover their life's true purpose and live their dreams. Now, here's what happens when you set a goal. You might be motivated by it for a little while. You might actually get there. But once you are on your journey, most people realize that the goal that they actually set for themselves is not what they want to achieve, which is why a lot of the times once people get something that they thought they wanted, they realize they want something else. So instead of setting goals, set systems and processes. Instead of focusing on getting to the top of the mountain, focus on becoming the person that can get to the top of the mountain and can get down safely. Because to get up to the top of the mountain, that's only 20%. The other 80% is making sure you get down safely. So if you want to, let's say, climb a mountain, since we're going to stick with this example, what you want to do is set systems for yourself and practices for yourself so that you become that person. One, you're going to need to train your body, right? And in order to train your body, maybe your goal is to run a certain distance. But maybe it's not actually to run that certain distance. Maybe it's to run every single day. Instead of having the goal be to run a marathon, have a system that allows you to run that marathon. Have a process and a practice that allows you to run that marathon. Maybe your goal is to be peaceful or to be fearless. Well, how are you going to get to peace and how are you going to get to fearlessness? It's very simple, but it's not easy. To achieve peace, all you got to do is quiet the mind and align your mind, body, and soul. Simple, right? Of course it is. But how are we going to get there? We're going to get there through systems and processes. We're going to meditate, we're going to pray, we're going to read, we're going to give to ourselves, we're going to journal, we're going to do all of the things that allow us to get to peace. How are you going to get to fearlessness? Well, maybe little by little, every day, every week, you do something that you're afraid of. You do something that you're uncomfortable with. You do something that pushes that zone of comfortability further and further out. Because what you must understand, we all have zones. Zones that we like to stick to, and zones that we don't want to play in. And then there's zones we don't even know. So most of people operate in the zone of I know. And that's where the comfort is. But comfort is just very slow death. Because anybody that's ever been interviewed on their deathbed says that I wish I worked less and I wish I did more things. Now, being comfortable sitting on the couch, that's great. But there's a reason I'm standing. It's because when you are in motion, when you are moving, then the energy flows. I did my best to record videos sitting down, but what I realized is that I am really not in the right zone when I sit. It's one of the reasons why many speakers, when they're on stage, they're not sitting down in the chairs. They're up, especially high-level speakers. They're up and about, they're up, they're excited, their energy level is up, and they're able to really give themselves fully because they're moving. They're moving with the world, they're moving their energy, and they're making sure that you feel that energy. There's nothing wrong with sitting down when you are eating food. As a matter of fact, it's one of the more important things that we program ourselves to do is to sit when we're eating so that way the food can actually assimilate better. However, when you're sitting down when you are working, when you are sitting down when you are relaxing and you are just allowing yourself to stay in that comfort zone, to not push yourself, that is one of the recipes for long-term disaster. You might not feel it right now. It might take years to get to the point where the only thing that you can do is sit down. How many people are obese nowadays? It's more than we can count. Well, there's a simple way that we can counteract that. Standing desks. Stability balls. I know it seems silly, but even when I worked inside an office, I had a stability ball instead of a chair. Most of the time, whenever I was making calls, yeah, I'd dial that number, but then all of a sudden I would be walking around the office. If it was okay weather, I would actually go outside. I had a headset that allowed me to go at least 300 feet from my desk. This is back in the day when we had wired phones. And I would just walk around the office building, just talking to my clients, talking to my other trading partners. People could feel my energy. They could feel the excitement. Isn't it a huge difference when you're just sitting and you're just in that zone and you're just kind of in the computer versus when you stand up? You stand up, all of a sudden your muscles have to work a little bit more. All of a sudden your body gets a little bit more excited because it starts thinking that we're going to do something. Now, one of the things that I actually do, even if I'm sitting down, I do my best to keep stretching. I do my best if I'm sitting, even though there's a nice, beautiful, comfortable chair here. I use this rarely. I usually spread out a bouldering pad, so I have a little bit of cushion, and then I start stretching. So that way I am actively still doing something. My muscles are still working while I'm relaxing or while I'm working. If I'm tired of walking and talking, sure, I'll sit down to take a break, or better yet, I'll kick my legs up and I'll start stretching. Oh, and it's such a nice little stretch to be able to just stretch. Now, why am I sharing all of this with you? Goals are nice. It's nice to have a goal to be able to do the splits, for example, or to run a 4-minute mile, or to climb a mountain. Whatever your goals are, they're great, they're motivational. And once you hit them, you're like, great, I got that goal. But what is much, much better is to set up systems for yourself for life. Set up a system where you get up and first thing, after you, of course, did your gratitude and your meditation, you start moving. You move your body. You stretch, then you train, you do some exercises, and you add a little play. Because we want to make things fun. Because when things are fun, then we're much more likely to keep doing them, and we're much more likely to keep doing them for life. Science has proven that if you can do something for 6 months, it's all it takes, continuous doing, continuous work for 6 months, chances are you'll do it for the rest of your life. Now, most people quit in week 1. As soon as they start really feeling sore, they quit. And that is one of the most detrimental things you can do. Not only because you quit, but because you're training your mind, you're training your body, and you're allowing your soul to know that you are a quitter. So let me ask you this. Are you a quitter? Now, it's great to stop things that are no longer elevating you. Yeah, quit smoking, quit drinking, quit the negativity. But are you quitting on yourself? Now, if you are that person right now, I have good news for you. You can train yourself out of it for a very long time. Every single day, I worked out, I trained, I stretched, and then I added some play. I climbed big mountains, I did fun things. One of my last surgeries, I allowed myself more comfort than I should have. And that's true. I allowed myself more comfort than I ever should have. I got lazy. I got too comfortable. And I started saying the 3 worst and most detrimental words you can in an English language. I'll do it later. 4 words, whatever. Oh boy, those are the worst ones. Because if we don't take action immediately towards our goal, towards our vision, towards the systems, then chances are that later will never come. Later, when you say, hey, I'm going to do it later, that later will truly never, ever come. You will wake up 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, and you'll be like, wow, what happened to later? Remember, the only thing that exists is right now. So if you want to do something, let's say you want to achieve something, then right now is your chance to start doing that. If you're up for it, take this video, put in the headphones, and go do the thing that you've been telling yourself you're going to do it later. But if you are in the relaxing mode, why don't you add just a little bit of spice to it? Start stretching. Get up out of that chair. Stretch some of your muscles. Start balancing, start stretching, start using your core. If you are completely immobile for whatever reason. Maybe you've had a terrible accident, maybe whatever's going on, I get it. Sometimes I've been in those places. 26 surgeries so far. But what you can do is take action. If you are watching this on your phone, then take a note down. Open up the Notes app, open up a Reminders app and say, hey, I'm going to set a reminder for myself to do this daily. Open up your Notes app and say, hey, this is the system that I'm going to follow every single day, no matter what. Because later may never, ever come. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody. Now, how do you set the proper systems so that way you don't get overwhelmed and you don't overexhaust yourself so fast that you're not going to want to continue? Well, first is keep them simple. Kiss it. Keep it super simple. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to do all of these exercises every single day, focus on 2 to 4 exercises per day. And just max those out. Do the big push muscles one day, right? Do some push-ups, do some tricep dips, do some fun things, do some clap push-ups. Then focus on the pull muscles the next day. Do some pull-ups, do some rows. And of course, we're going to add the core exercises every day because core is every day. And watch how things start evolving. Maybe you want to run, and maybe you haven't ran in a while like me. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to run miles or I'm going to run this long, what I set up for myself is a very simple system. I said, I'm going to run every single day, and I'm going to increase the amount that I run every 4 days. So I started with 5 minutes. And I just started 5 minutes and I ran for 5 minutes for 3 days. And on the 4th day, I added 1 more minute. That's it. I'm keeping it super simple. So then for the next 3 days, I ran for 6 minutes. So now on day 7, for the next 3 days, I'm running 7 minutes. And it's going to take me a long time to run a half an hour every day. It's going to take me some time to get to that point. But it's also going to allow my muscles to warm up. It's also going to allow them to be a little sore, but not sore to the point where I'm going to want to quit after a week, 2, 3 weeks. You want to make sure that these systems are gradual. Maybe you want to read a book a day, but right now you're not even reading a page. So just start with, I'm going to read 2, 3 pages a day. If you don't want to read 10 pages, don't read 10 pages. Just read 2 or 3 pages a day. And chances are what's going to happen is that you're going to get to a point and you're going to read your 2, 3 pages and you're going to be reading the 3rd page, and all of a sudden there's going to be half a page left to finish the chapter, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to finish that chapter. So you're going to read 3.5 pages. Maybe the next chapter you read 4 pages. Maybe soon you're reading 10 pages a day, and maybe very shortly after that, maybe it takes 6 months, maybe it takes a year, but maybe you're reading a book a day. Maybe you're listening to personal development every single day, but maybe you started switching from listening to songs to personal development, and you don't want to just go all in, all out. So maybe you say, you know what? I'm just going to listen to 15 minutes every single day when I wake up and I brush my teeth and I'm getting ready. I'm just going to put 15 minutes of personal development audio on. I'm going to put in Marcus Aurelius meditations. I'm going to put in the Peaceful Manual. I'm going to do all of these things. And that's how you start really growing. Little bit, little day, every day, little by little, little by little, little by little, you're getting to actually where you want to be. Without overwhelm, without stress. Yeah, there's going to be some growing pains here and there. You might encounter at minute 15 that all of a sudden your body is like, you know what, 15 minutes is super light. I'm going to run more. So maybe one day you run for a half an hour, but then you drop it back down. Because you understand that you don't want to overpush, overpress too fast. See, this is why most people quit, is they go so fast that they forget the joy. They forget to actually enjoy the process. Because I'll just give you an example of running. Sure, you could probably run for a half an hour. Sure, you could read a book a day right now, but how much of that is going to be assimilated? And are you going to have fun? Are you really going to enjoy the process? Are you going to enjoy what you're doing? Or are you just going to push, 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 grind, grind, grind? Hustle, hustle, hustle. Now, it's great to have that in some cases. But as a general rule, to have that throughout your life is actually detrimental, because you're going to do something for a couple of weeks, maybe you do it for a couple of years, but I'm talking about longevity here. We want to establish systems and processes and practices that allow you to do this long term. I've been meditating for almost 20 years at this point. And when I first started, honestly, I couldn't sit still for more than 2 minutes. My mind, my body, everything would tell me and scream at me that, what are you doing? Why are you sitting still? This is not for you. It took me probably 6 months before I could literally sit still for 5 minutes. Yeah, this high level, high energy person couldn't even sit still when I was 19 years old. Literally could not sit still and close my eyes. Something always had to be itching, something always had to be moving. But now, after almost 20 years of practicing this, I'm glad to say that I can sit still for more than 5 minutes. Sometimes my meditation sessions last an hour, where my brain, my body, and my soul are completely aligned. Where my body is disconnected from feeling, from moving, where I'm such a deep trance that I put myself into, that I'm able to go deep, to go into no thought, to go into true peace and love. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about, is that in order to achieve fearlessness, in order to be fearless, you must cultivate practices that allow you to be fearless. You, one, must face your fears, whatever those are. That's the only way to actually overcome any fears, to face it. Whatever it is, maybe it's spiders, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's the ocean. So you start taking little excursions into the oceans. Maybe you go to the museums and you say hi to the spiders behind glass. Maybe next time there's a spider crawling, you say, you know what? Instead of killing it, I'm going to put a cup on it. I'm going to slide a piece of paper under it. I'm going to say hi to the spider. I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you to that beautiful spider for eating all of the harmful insects, all of the ones that annoy us, from the flies to the mosquitoes, which carry disease. And I'm actually going to be grateful to that spider. Instead of smashing it, I'm going to put it outside. Maybe you'll find a perfect little place outside the front door where now you're going to have insect-free entrance into your house. Maybe you're afraid of the ocean. So maybe you're going to start swimming in a pool first. You're going to get so good at swimming in a pool that, hey, you are now the greatest swimmer ever. The next step, you go to a wave pool. You start experiencing the waves, but in a more or less safe environment. Maybe later you start going into the ocean, just a little bit. You dip a toe. Then you dip another toe. Maybe at first you go out and you surf a little bit. Maybe you get scuba certified so you can be face to face with the beautiful creatures that are under the water. So to set up fearless systems, again, start small. Get out of your comfort zone. Maybe you're afraid to travel. Whatever it is that you're afraid of, start doing it, and start doing it more and more and more. And in a year, you can look back and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. But if you're scared of something and I threw you in a spider pit or in the middle of the ocean right now, you would just be overwhelmed. You'd probably collapse, have shock, and definitely not have a positive experience. But if you start allowing yourself, through literally exposure therapy, just small steps here and here and here and here, you're going to train your fearless muscle. Because remember, fearlessness is a muscle. Everything that we have on the outside that are our muscles, there's also muscles on the inside. Peace is a muscle. We all have deep inner peace within us. But to cultivate that deep inner peace and be able to tap into it whenever we want, you have to practice. And how do we practice deep inner peace? We sit still. We allow ourselves to let go of the past, forget the future, be here now. That's the only way you're going to train yourself to be peaceful, to be still. Because if you're always moving, running, sure, you as a human are predisposed and you are innately born with deep inner peace. But can you tap into it right now no matter what? If you don't have the highways built, if you don't have literally the neural connections in your brain, neural connections in your body, and everything aligns with your mind, body, and soul, it's going to be very hard for you to tap into deep inner peace. If you haven't trained yourself to be fearless in small situations, it's going to be very difficult to be fearless in big situations. You know, maybe something collapsed. Well, if you've been through small collapses before, then the big collapse doesn't feel so big, does it? Maybe it's a big breakdown, but you understand that every breakdown is just one side of a coin. That on the other side of that coin, there's actually breakthrough. So if you are in a breakdown, you are no longer afraid because you know that there's a breakthrough here as well. Now, one of the things that I actually want to talk to you about is how to set up the processes so that way they're always elevating. And there's a 3-stool triad that I use, like a triangle. And if one of these pieces is missing, then that stool will collapse. You can't have a stool with 2 legs. You can have a stool with 3 legs, but you can't have a stool with 2 legs. So how do we set up the systems so that way they're always elevating and then they're always fun? Because we have to trick ourselves, especially in the beginning, how to make the tough things fun. Because it has been proven by science multiple times that when you're having fun, when you're enjoying yourself, you're much more likely to continue. You're going to learn more and faster. It is just science. So the triad, the 3-legged stool that I use for this is stretch, train, play. Everything that I do, whether it's running or exercising, to running a company, to creating things for myself, this has to apply. And when it applies, it makes everything a lot more fun. So first, whatever it is, I gotta stretch. And I don't mean stretch as in put my legs up like I did earlier, like this. I mean it has to be stretching. It literally has to stretch my comfort zone. I have to get out of my comfort zone, and it doesn't have to be far, just a little bit. Stretching outside of comfort zone, just a little bit, stretching that comfort zone. Now, once you've stretched and you've kind of limbered up, the next thing is to train. Once you're out of your comfort zone, you're going to train yourself to enjoy that new level. You're going to train yourself to enjoy that new space. And then you make sure that you're having fun. You make sure you add play to it. Stretch, train, play. How do we make the training fun? How do we make the stretching fun? I'll give you an example of running. Every single time I run, I look for something new. Even if I'm running back and forth like this across a parking lot, which I've done multiple times, I look for something new. Whether it's inside my body or whether it's outside. I look for something new. I listen to something new. Maybe it's literally just changing the body position as I'm running. So that way I'm enjoying it. Maybe I'll do a little hop, skip, step. Maybe I'll do a little jump to literally add play to it. If I'm really not feeling it, I'll just start smiling out of nowhere. Because again, science has proven that it's impossible for you to smile and still not enjoy it. So I'll just start smiling. After 5 minutes of smiling and looking goofy, I can feel the endorphins changing. After 10 minutes, I'm really already enjoying it. Even if I don't like running, if I don't like training or exercising or stretching, it's impossible not to enjoy it when you have a smile on your face. So there's psychological and physiological literally hacks that you can apply in order for you to start enjoying the process, in order for you to start enjoying the systems and the practices. So whatever it is that you want to do, maybe it's writing. So start writing, and maybe you add a couple goofy sentences in there. Maybe you write a few poems just to get yourself out of the funk and just really enjoy the process. Whatever it is, add play to it. You're going to be that much more likely to succeed, that much more likely to have fun, and that much more likely to keep doing it, keep wanting to do it. So remember, just apply stretch, train, play to every system and practice and process that you want to achieve and implement. This is Rus Nikita. Remember, be fearless. Let's go.